Hi guys.
Hello.
This is day 21 of
Day 21.
the Bible in a year.
And instead of tea or hot cocoa, I made cabbage soup.
It's really good.
So that's what we're eating. It has cabbage, zucchini, mushrooms, celery, onions, garlic, peas, carrots. I think that's it. Yeah. Then you just boil it with bouillon, and I put just spices in it. It's really good.
It's really good. Really yummy.
So you try it out.
Yeah, try it out.
Ask me if you want the recipe.
Mom, isn't the recipe on your All Things Food channel?
Maybe. I think it is.
I thought so. I thought I saw it. I thought a picture of it or something. Or a video that said cabbage
And
soup.
if I might need to stop, I'm sorry because we just sent my husband and I just sent my son over to Missouri. He flew there and he was going into the military, so we won't see him for quite a while. So I am severely depressed.
Depressed.
I'm not disappointed. I'm very proud of my son and my daughter.
I don't know why I said disappointed.
Severely depressed today.
Depressed.
So today, day 21 is Genesis 41, Genesis 42, Mark chapter 9, verses 14 to 32, and Psalms chapter 10. And
41.
See, that's another thing I don't get. They say Psalms, but then you go to the book of Psalms, and it's not Psalms. It says Psalm, no S. So I'm always confused by that. Okay. Genesis chapter 40. The prisoner's dreams. It came to pass after these things that the butler and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their lord, the king of Egypt. And Pharaoh was angry with his two officers, the chief butler and the chief baker. So he put them in the custody of house of the captain of the guard in the prison. I thought we already read this. Didn't we already read this?
It's the first one is Genesis 41.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I already read. Why am I reading? Okay, sorry guys. I started on 40 instead of 4. I'm like, we already read this last time.
You silly goose.
I am a silly goose. Okay. Pharaoh's dreams. There you go. Chapter 41. Then it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh had a dream. And behold, he stood by the river. Suddenly there came up out of the river 7 cows, fine looking and fat, and they fed in the meadow.
7 healthy cows graze peacefully on the banks.
Sorry, guys. Every time I get a text, I'm wondering if it's my son. Oh, it is my son. Hold on, guys. They took his phone away. I thought they took his phone away early.
Family drama. Give us a second.
Oh my gosh. We've been on the bus for 2 hours. It's also freezing outside. I got cold quick. Oh, shit. So we're in a state that's very warm, and he went to Missouri, which is very cold, and the plane landed, and it was all snow. Sorry if I'm talking about this, guys, but I can't, nuts.
Is this family drama?
It's not drama. It's just things that happen.
Okay.
We've been on the bus ride for 2 hours. It's also freezing outside. I got cold quick. Sorry, guys. I don't know how long he's going to have his phone, so... Okay, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I don't know where I stopped. Okay, suddenly, okay, then the cows. Okay. Then behold, 7 other, looking fat, and they fed in the meadow. Then behold, 7 other cows came up after them out of the river, ugly and gaunt, and stood by the other cows on the bank of the river. And the ugly and gaunt cows ate up the 7 fine-looking and fat cows. So Pharaoh awoke. He slept and dreamed a second time, and suddenly 7 heads of grain came up on one stalk, plump and good. Then behold, 7 thin heads, blighted by the east wind, sprang up after them. And the 7 thin heads devoured the 7 plump and full heads. So Pharaoh awoke, and indeed it was a dream. So he had 2 dreams. Sorry, guys. It's my son again. Took him up, secretly got my phone. But I'm in the back of the bus.
Oh my gosh. And this cabbage soup is really curing my headache I have right
Oh,
now.
that's good.
Mm-hmm. It's some of them, most of the some.
Okay, sorry about that,
Some
guys.
of the most of the.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now it came to pass in the morning that this spirit was troubled, that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for the magician. Sorry, guys, I can't. Okay, so that's not him. So I thought it was. Okay, so this is in the cell. Be back soon, so we can walk the dogs together.
Oh my gosh, I had to deal with that. I had to deal with this vibrating at school
Yeah.
because y'all kept texting.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's gone for a while, so it's like we can't. They said we might not get any sleep
Yeah,
tonight.
I miss him too.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry, guys. It's my baby. This is my baby. Just like if my daughter was away, I'd be like, oh, okay, I need to take my baby girl. They're sleep deprived, so he's getting some sleep. I'm just so glad he's getting sleep, but it's so cold there. Okay. Okay, I don't even remember where I left off. Okay. So again, indeed, it was a dream. Now it came to pass in the morning that his spirit was troubled, and he sent and called for all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men, and Pharaoh told them his dreams. But there was no one who could interpret them for Pharaoh. Then the chief butler spoke to Pharaoh, saying, I remember my faults this day, when Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, both me and the chief baker. We each had a dream in one night, he and I. Each of us dreamed according to the interpretation of his own dream. Now there was a young Hebrew man with us there, a servant of the captain of the guard, and we told him, and he interpreted our dreams for us. To each man he interpreted according to his own dream. And it came to pass just as he interpreted for us, so it happened. He restored me to my office, and he hanged him. Then Pharaoh. Sorry, guys. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be able to talk to my son. It might be a couple weeks. I'm 21 minutes away from Fort Leonard Wood 2, almost there.
Usually when I want to eat warm things, it makes my nose runny.
Yeah, me too. And also when I go out and I walk and it's cold,
I need
that
a
happens
tissue.
too.
Give me a second.
Okay.
I need a tissue.
Okay, let's see. Captain of the guard, and we told him a dream. Okay. And it came to pass just as he interpreted for us. So it happened. He restored me to my office, and he hanged him. The Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they brought him quickly out of the dungeon. And he changed his clothing, and came to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream to interpret it. So Joseph answered Pharaoh, saying, It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, Behold, in my dream I stood on the bank of the river. Suddenly 7 cows came up out of the river, fine looking and fat, and they fed in the meadow. Then behold, 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly and gaunt, such ugliness as I have never seen in all the land of Egypt. And the gaunt and ugly cows ate up the first 7, the fat and the gaunt and ugly cows ate up the first 7, the fat cows. When they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were just as ugly as at the beginning. So I awoke. Also, I saw in my dream, and suddenly 7 heads came up on one stalk, full and good. Then behold, 7 heads withered, thin and blighted by the east wind, sprang up after them. And the thin heads devoured the 7 good heads. So I told this to the magicians, but there was no one who could explain it to me. Then Joseph said to Pharaoh, The dreams of Pharaoh are one. God has shown Pharaoh that what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads are 7 years. The dreams are one. And the 7 thin and ugly cows which came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty heads blighted by the east wind are 7 years of famine. This is the thing which I have spoken to Pharaoh. God has shown Pharaoh what he is about to do. Indeed, 7 years of great plenty will come throughout all the land of Egypt, but after them 7 years of famine will arise, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine will deplete the land. So the plenty will not be known in the land because of the famine following it, for it will be very severe. So they're going to have 7 years of like really a lot of food, and then 7 years of nothing.
Oh my.
Sorry, guys.
I finished all my cabbage
Oh,
soup.
that's good.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it came out really good.
See, guys, it's really good. Even I like it.
Okay. And she doesn't like vegetables that much. Okay, but after 7 years of famine will arise, and the plenty will be forgotten, and the land
Makes
these
me
7
want to
years
eat your
great
cabbage
plenty
soup.
will come out. But after them 7 years of famine will arise, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt, and the famine will deplete the land. So the plenty will not be known in the land because of the famine following, for it will be very severe. And the dream was repeated to Pharaoh twice, because the thing is established by God, and God will shortly bring it to pass. Now therefore let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man, and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land to collect 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt in the 7 plentiful years. And let them gather all the food and those good years that are coming, and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh, and let them keep food in the cities. Then that food shall be as a reserve for the land for the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land may not perish during the famine. Joseph's rise to power. So the advice was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, "Can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Inasmuch as God has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall be ruled according to your word. Only in regard to the throne will I be greater than you." And Pharaoh said to Joseph, "See, I have set you over all the land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh took his signet ring off his hand and put it on Joseph's hand, and he clothed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. And he had him ride in the second chariot which he had, and they cried out before him, "Bow the knee." So he set him over all the land of Egypt. Pharaoh also said to Joseph, "I am Pharaoh." Joseph, and I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no man may lift his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephnath Paneah. Remember on the Zephnath Paneah. Remember on the
Yeah, I remember.
And he gave him a wife, Asenath, the daughter of
That's weird. It said Osana.
Osanath. Well, that's Osanath. Osanath. Asenath. I don't know.
Osanath. Maybe it's under. You know how knife. Knife.
Yeah, you could have this if you want to, because it's going to get cold if I wait. The daughter of Potiphera, priest of On. So Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went throughout all the land of Egypt. Now in the 7 plentiful years, the ground brought forth abundantly. So he gathered up all the food of the 7 years which were in the land of Egypt, and laid up the food in the cities. He laid up in every city the food of the fields which surrounded them. Joseph gathered very much grain as the sand of the sea, until he stopped counting, for it was immeasurable. Whoa, he couldn't even measure it. It was immeasurable. Crazy. And
my disappointment is immeasurable.
And to Joseph were born 2 sons before the years of famine came, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, bore to him. Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, for God has made me forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second he called Ephraim, for God has caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction. Then the 7 years of plenty which were in the land of Egypt ended, and the 7 years of famine began to come. As Joseph had said, the famine was in all the lands, but in all the lands of Egypt there was bread. So when all the lands of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Then Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph. Whatever he says to you, do." The famine was over all the face of the earth, and Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians. And the famine became severe in the land of Egypt. So all countries came to Joseph in Egypt to buy grain, because the famine was severe in all lands. Chapter 42. Joseph's brothers go to Egypt. When Jacob saw that there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why do you look at one another?" And he said, "Indeed, I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down to that place and buy for us there, that we may live and not die." So Joseph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt. But Jacob did not send Joseph's brother Benjamin with his brothers, for he said, "Lest some calamity befall him." And the sons of Israel went to buy grain among those who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Joseph was governor over the land, and it was he who sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the earth. Joseph saw his brothers and recognized them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke roughly to them. Then he said to them, "Where do you come from?" And they said, "From the land of Canaan to buy food." So Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Then Joseph remembered the dreams which he had dreamed about them, and said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said to him, "No, my lord, but your servants have come to buy food. We are all one man's son. We are honest men. Your servants are not spies." But he said to them, "No, but you have come to see the nakedness of the land." And they said, "Your servants are 12 brothers, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. And in fact, the youngest is with our father today, and one is no more." But Joseph said to them, "It is as I spoke to you, saying, 'You are spies.' In this manner you shall be tested. By the life of Pharaoh, you shall not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you and let him bring your brother, and you shall be kept in prison, that your words may be tested to see whether there is any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely you are spies." So he put them all together in prison 3 days. Then Joseph said to them the third day, "Do this and live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers be confined to your prison house. But you go and carry grain for the famine of your houses, and bring your youngest brother to me, so your words will be verified, and you shall not die." And they did so. Then they said to one another, "We are truly guilty concerning our brother, for we saw the anguish of his soul when he pleaded with us, and we would not hear. Therefore, this distress has come upon us." And Reuben answered them, saying, "Did I not speak to you, saying, 'Do not sin against the boy'? And you would not listen? Therefore, behold, his blood is now required of us." But they did not know that Joseph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. And he turned himself away from them and wept. Then he returned to them again and talked with them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. The brothers returned to
Yeah,
Canaan.
they did in this. They definitely
Yeah.
did in the movie too.
In the movie, it was very accurate.
Hey,
that
Mom,
movie.
look.
Oh, good job. Well, there were small bowls. The brothers returned to Canaan. Then Joseph gave a command to fill their sacks with grain, to restore every man's money to his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. Thus he did for them. So they loaded their donkeys and the grain and departed from there. But as one of them opened his sack to give his donkey feed at the encampment, he saw his money, and there it was in the mouth of the sack. So he said to his brothers, "My money has been restored, and there it is in my sack." Then their hearts failed them, and they were afraid, saying to one another, "What is this that God has done to us?" Then they went to Jacob their father in the land of Canaan and told him all that had happened to them, saying, "The man who is Lord of the land spoke roughly to us and took us for spies of the country. But we said to him, We are honest men, we are not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of our father. One is no more, and the youngest is with our father this day in the land of Canaan. Then the man, the lord of the country, said to us, By this I will know that you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food for the famine of your household, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother to me, so I shall know that you are not spies, but that you are honest men. I will grant your brother to you, and you may trade in the land. Trade in the land. Then it happened as they emptied their sacks that surprisingly each man's bundle of money was in the sack. And when they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob, their father, said to them, You have bereaved me. Joseph is no more. Simeon is no more. And you want to take Benjamin? All these things are against me. Then Reuben spoke to his father, saying, Kill my 2 sons if I do not bring him back to you. Put him in my hands, and I will bring him back to you. But he said, My son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If any calamity should befall him along the way in which you go, then you would bring down my gray hair with my sorrow to the grave.
So you read 41 and 42?
Yes.
Oops. Okay, Mark 9, 14.
Okay. Right.
Chapter 9 to verse 14.
Right.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
14 and 32.
right. So Joseph's brothers went to him to get food, but they didn't know who he was, but he knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, and then they said they had a younger brother, and he's like, he wanted to see the younger brother. So he took one of their brothers and said, Bring the younger one, because he wants to see.
He's like, Bring the other one,
Mhm.
younger one, and I'll let him go.
And then I'll let the other one go. And so
I actually remember
again,
in the movie.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's like, Until then, arrest this one. We'll hold him till you produce this youngest brother.
Right, but again, they don't know it's Joseph. They think Joseph died, or they sold him into slavery, so they must think he's a slave somewhere. But then they tell him that their brother's dead, but I guess they think he died in slavery, but they don't know for sure. I don't know. Okay, Mark chapter 9, verses 14 through 32. Okay, a boy is healed. And when he came to the disciples, he saw a great multitude around them, and scribes disputing with them. Immediately when they saw him, all the people were greatly amazed, and running to him, greeting him. And he asked the scribes, What are you discussing with them? Then one of the crowd answered and said, Teacher, I brought you my son who has a mute spirit, and wherever it seizes him, it throws him down. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. So I spoke to your disciples that they should cast it out, but they could not. He answered him and said, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him to me. So then they brought him to him. And when he saw him, immediately the spirit convulsed him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming at the mouth. So he asked his father, How long has this been happening to him? And he said, From childhood. And often he has thrown him both into the fire and into the water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Jesus said to him, If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. Immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief. When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, Deaf and dumb spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more. Then the spirit cried out, convulsed him greatly, and came out of him, and he became as one dead, so that many said, He is dead. But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could we not cast it out? So he said to them, This kind can come out by nothing but prayer and fasting. Oh, okay. It's prayer and fasting. Mm-hmm. Jesus again predicts his death and resurrection. Then they departed from there and passed through Galilee, and he did not want anyone to know it, for he taught his disciples and said to them, The Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him. And after he is killed, he will rise the third day. But they did not understand this saying and were afraid to ask him.
That is
Psalm 10 now. They were afraid to ask him. Okay, Psalm 10.
Psalm 10. Right there. And it's all the way right.
I didn't sleep at all last night.
You
Okay.
didn't? Were
Barely.
you crying?
Oh, I was crying and worried about the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, hope you're okay.
Yeah, it'll take me a few days to get used to my son not being with me. It sucks. Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry that you have to see mom like this.
Okay, Psalm 10. A song of confidence in God's triumph over evil. Why do you stand afar off, O Lord? Why do you hide in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride persecutes the poor. Let them be caught in the plots which they have devised. For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire. He blesses the greedy and renounces the Lord. The wicked in his proud countenance does not seek God. God is in none of his thoughts. His ways are always prospering. Your judgments are far above, out of sight. As for all his enemies, he sneers at them. He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved. I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongue is trouble and iniquity. He sits in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places, he murders the innocent. His eyes are secretly fixed on the helpless. He lies in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lies in wait to catch the poor. He catches the poor when he draws him into his net. So he crouches, he lies low, that the helpless may fall by his strength. He has said in his heart, God has forgotten. He hides his face. He will never see. Do you want to read the last piece right here? Just this.
Okay. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand. Do not forget the humble. Why do the wicked renounce God? He has said in his heart, you will not require an account, but you have seen, for you observe trouble and grief, to repay it by your hand. The helpless commits himself to you. You are the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked, of the evil man. Seek out his wickedness until you find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations have perished out of his hand, out of his land. Lord, you have heard the desire of the humble. You will prepare their heart. You will cause your ear to hear, to do justice to the fatherless and the oppressed, that the men of the earth may oppress no more.
Cool. Dang,
Check.
That sounds crazy.
This was
triumph over evil. That's amazing.
This was Bible in a Year, day 21. Hope you guys enjoyed.
We'll see you tomorrow for day 20 deuce. Let's go like that. Okay.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Guys,